जाने वाला इससे पहले कि मैं ये पढ़ूँ, वो आपकी खिदमत में अर्ज़ करना है कि जिस ज़बान में मुझे दावतनामा मिलता है उसी पर लिख के लाता हूँ। तो चूँकि अंग्रेज़ी में दावतनामा गया था तो लिहाजा ही मैं अंग्रेज़ी में है, और उर्दू बना सकता हूँ जल्दी जल्दी, लेकिन फिर भी वो बात नहीं रही। Dignitaries at the dais and learned audience and dear students. Oxford Dictionary of Islam says about Imam Ali, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, the distinguished judge, pious, believer, brave warrior, Ali serves as a paradigm for political activism, for redress of social and political injuries for the downtrodden. ये ऑक्सफोर्ड डिक्शनरी में इमाम अली के लिए लिखा है कि वो पिछड़े हुए और दबाए हुए लोगों के मसीहा थे. His was the policy as taught by Allah. His was the best. He was the best judge. His was the best judgment on account of his sagacity and thorough knowledge of human mind. He always arrived at correct conclusions and never changed his opinions. कोई तारीख में ऐसा मौका नहीं मिलेगा कि जहाँ पर आपने अपना फैसला दिया हो और उसके ऊपर नज़रसानी करने की ज़रूरत पड़ी हो या किसी ने टोका हो. Roman kings would have his pictures in their palaces, and great warriors would engrave his name on their swords. It's historically proven. And it appears in the introduction to Najib Balagha by Askari Jafri. His entire attention was devoted towards the enforcement of the rules of equity and justice. Whenever any oppressor encroached upon the rights of the people or treated the weak in a humiliating manner or ignored their welfare and threw their burden on their weak shoulders, Ali gave him a tough fight. Quoted from George Urdah, Voice of Human Justice. The governor of Halwan, Aswad ibn Khatiba, to him he said, avoid that the like of which you would not like for yourself. It's a dictum. Whichever you don't like for yourself, how can you do for others? Therefore, and if it is done, it means justice will be implemented and justice will continue forever. The history of Arabia is proud of the following sentence of Ali. He was a Muslim caliph, but the people living in any country, they have different faiths, different understanding, different sorts of standards. He said, if a carpet is spread for me and I sit on it, I shall decide the cases of Jews according to their book, the Torah, of the Christians according to their book, Bible, the Evangel, Bible, and of the Muslims according to their Quran, in such a way that every one of these books would cry out, Ali has spoken the truth. And he said it. And nobody in the entire history, with not only the Muslims or believers were living, all people were living, and no case appears where anybody said you have not done the justice. And to Malik Ashtar, his advice was, you should avoid shedding of blood. In the letter instructions which he issued to him when he appointed his governor, then he said you should not shed blood. And then to his son Imam Hassan, he said, oh my child, make yourself the measure for dealing between yourself and others. You like for others that you like for yourself. अगर हम अपनी ज़िंदगी में इसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर लें कि जो चीज़ हमें पसंद नहीं है हम दूसरे को क्यों ला दें, तो ना हुक्मरान फेल होगा न रियाया फेल होगा. Governance, now I come to governance. Governance opines the World Humanity Action Trust is the framework of social and economic system and legal and political structures through which humanity manages itself. Good governance. Magna Carta 1512, I don't write AD. Most Muslims write AD, which is wrong. It is after death. They said he was crucified, and he was not crucified, Christ. And therefore I use CE, the Christian era. Formed part of other charters. On December 10, 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights proclaimed by the General Assembly of the United Nations. This how 1512. And when Ali Imam Ali said all these things about human rights. So now the good governance, now to come, the good governance is based upon participation. First, participation. Not from the governor's point of view, but participation. It should be willingly accepted and participated by the people for whom the governance is being established. And therefore, the first thing is participation, then the rule of law, transparency, accountability, responsiveness, equity and inclusiveness, effectiveness and efficiency and accountability. This says good governance. Now, Kofi Annan on December 10, 1997 said in Tehran, University of Tehran on December 10, 1997, as I told you, he referred to Imam Ali's instruction to Maliki Ashtars with regard to the rule with mercy. He said to rule with mercy and tolerance towards the subjects. Two things. Kofi Annan said it, that he understood it, and he said rule with mercy and tolerance for others. And it establishes, in 2002, Human Rights Committee was formed by the United Nations Secretariat, 2002. And those who know the letters of Imam Ali, Najibullah, not only the Maliki Ashtar, letter to Maliki Ashtar, but there are many other letters that point out towards justice and humanity and goodness of humanity. So the UN Secretariat in New York with Kofi Annan as its chairman, it issued its historic resolution, 160 pages on human rights. And I quote from it, Caliph Ali is considered as the finest governor who appeared during human history after Prophet Muhammad. The UNDP in its Human Development Report 2002 listed 6 points, and these 6 points are from Imam Ali. Number one who appoints himself as ruler must begin by teaching himself before teaching others. Number two, developing land is more of your concern than the collection of the taxes. Most rulers try to view the tax collection, but not the development of land. And Imam Ali said that first develop the land and then ask for the taxes. And thirdly, seek company of the learned. दुनिया किसी डॉक्यूमेंट में दुनिया से आता है कि ये करेंगे, चाहे यूनाइटेड नेशंस का हो, कहीं किसी का हो, कहीं पर नो वेयर इट इज रिटन कि लर्नेड को अपने अराउंड रखना. Seek company of the learned, because the learned is an honest person and he will tell you what is right and what is wrong. And therefore a man is known also by the company he keeps. Therefore, no good to keep quiet on government policies or speak out of ignorance. Two things. Don't keep quiet on your policies if you are governor, or you are the part of government, or you are minister. You spoke about your policies, and then you should never speak out of ignorance. If you don't know it, tell him, your audience, your people, your subjects, all right, tomorrow I'll come and speak to you again and tell you. And it's a very important sentence. It avoids misunderstandings. It avoids the lot of rumors which go one after the other, and everybody doesn't have the same rationale and same mind. Many start believing in it, and then what happens? Misunderstandings develop in society. And there were leaders, the message goes to the leaders of the world, don't speak out of ignorance, speak with confidence based upon the facts and understanding of the subject. Then the next thing he wrote, choose the best for administration of justice. The best for administration of justice. Administrators के लिए नहीं कहेगा, सबसे पहले कहेगा choose the best for administration of justice, the judges. And those who implement programs with justice. The righteous are men of virtue. अब जो लोग अच्छे लोगों की तारीफ है इसमें कि जो righteous लोग हैं, अच्छे लोग हैं, they are men of virtue, whose logic is straightforward. अगर आप किसी ताल्लुकात रखते हैं, आपके जानने वाले हैं, जब वो आपसे बात करें तो आप उनकी लॉजिक, उनके आर्गूमेंट पर गौर करिए और ये समझिए कि इनकी लॉजिक जो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड है या ये घुमा फिरा रहे हैं. If they are talking truth, it will go straight into your mind and you will start believing him, and this means there will be developing understanding between one soul with the other, and that will be good for the social good of the country also. And then their dress is unostentatious. बाज़ लोग जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स हैं वो अपने पहन के और ये वगैरह पहचानवाना चाहते हैं कि लोग पहचान लिए आगे. They are unostentatious. یہ بڑا فلسفیانہ جملہ ہے. فلسفیانہ جملہ اس لیے ہے کہ جب آپ کے یہاں ہوگا تو آپ خود ہی پہچانے جائیں گے. Don't decorate yourself colorful dresses so that the people can understand who are you and what are you in society. Therefore, it is a lesson to all of us for generations to come that try to develop your mind rather than decorate yourself with outwardly dresses. There and then whose path is modest. ان کا راستہ بڑا modest ہوتا ہے. وہ ostentatious نہیں ہوتا. وہ اس طرح کا نہیں ہوتا ہے کہ جو خالی richer of this population is addressed by them. They are very moderate, and so that anybody can come and meet them, put questions to them and can go satisfied with the reply that is given to them. And whose actions are many. Action بہت ہوتے ہیں, but words are not accordingly. They speak less, they do more. This means the action-oriented men are viewing the target where they have to reach and take the people around them rather than to go and speak with the fiery speeches, try to attract the people unto them. And they are undeterred by difficulty. یہ لیڈر کی تعریف ہو رہی ہے. They are undeterred by difficulties. جتنی مصیبتیں پڑے راستے میں کچھ ہو اس سے ان کی پرواہ نہیں ہوتی. Therefore, Imam said that choose the best for administration of justice, then you will find that there will be difference between right and wrong will be totally manifested, and people will start going to the right direction because justice is being reached to them from that quarter. The Holy Imam told Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari, اب یہ عجب اس بات ہے کہ دنیا میں کہا یہ بہت پڑھے لکھے آدمی ہیں تو لہٰذا یہ سماج کے بہت اپر کلاس کو بلانگ کرتے ہیں. یہ IAS آفیسر ہے تو بڑے امپورٹنٹ آدمی ہیں, اور یہ بہت بڑے پروفیسر ہیں تو بہت بڑے اچھے آدمی ہیں. یہ بزنس مین, ہر بڑا آدمی جب مل جاتا ہے تو بہت سے بڑے بن جاتے ہیں. مگر میرے امام نے کہا کہ ہاں, the Holy Imam told Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari, the mainstay of religion of the world are 4 categories of persons. چاہے دنیا کو دیکھ لو یا مذہب کو دیکھ لو, کہ دنیا میں 4 کیٹیگری کے لوگ ہیں جو بہت جو امپورٹنٹ ہیں بیکاز they are the mainstay of religion. پہلا تھا اسکالر, سلام کیجیے عظمتوں کے علی کے, کہ انہوں نے علم کا نمبر 1 رکھا ہے, کہ ایسے لکھا ہے, وہ قرآن نے بھی کہا یسوع الذین یعلمون والذین لا یعلمون, کیا جاننے والے اور جاننے والے برابر ہو جائیں گے؟ تو یہ جو پولیٹیکل پارٹیز کہتے ہیں ہم سب برابر ہیں, میں نہیں مانتا. اگر آپ ایماندار مجھ سے زیادہ ہیں تو آپ اولین ہیں, میں آپ کے پیچھے ہوں. اگر آپ زیادہ لرنڈ ہیں تو آپ آگے ہم پیچھے. جس دن سماج سچ بولنے لگے گا تو justice will be totally implemented. Therefore the Imam said the first is the scholar who acts on his knowledge. اب اسکالر میں بندش کر دی کہ انہیں نالج تو ہے but they don't act accordingly. Therefore that he should be the knowledgeable person acting upon his belief and the knowledge that he has acquired. The second, the ignorant. ظاہر ہے اسکالر کے بعد اگنورنٹ ہی آتا ہے. تو کہا کہ 4 کیٹیگری لوگوں پر سماج زندہ ہے اور یہ آگے بڑھے گا. تو نمبر 2 رکھا گیا اگنورنٹ, جاہل. اب اس کے بعد اس کی بندش کہہ لگائی who doesn't feel ashamed of learning. کہ جاہل تو ہے لیکن پڑھنے سے نہیں بھاگتا, سمجھنے سے نہیں بھاگتا. اس کا مطلب وہ انکوزیٹو. اب اس میں بہت سی باتیں آ سکتی ہیں, گھنٹوں تقریر کی جا سکتی ہے کہ کیوں جاہل رہا, ماں باپ ذمہ دار ہیں کہ نہیں اس کے, اور جو اعزا قربا ہیں ذمہ دار ہیں کہ نہیں, جن کو اللہ نے دولت دی وہ ذمہ دار ہیں کہ نہیں, علماء ذمہ دار ہیں کہ نہیں, وغیرہ وغیرہ باتیں آ جاتی ہیں. بھارت نے اگنورنٹ کو بھی جگہ دی, مگر کس اگنورنٹ کو؟ جو پڑھنا چاہتا ہے, جاننا چاہتا ہے. The third category is the generous, who is not niggardly in his favors. منجوس نہیں ہے وہ, اس کے پاس ہے تو دینا چاہتا ہے لوگوں. اور fourthly, the destitute who doesn't sell his next life in lieu of this world for benefits. ایسا غریب تو جو اپنی انا, اپنی عزت نفس کے اوپر نازا ہے, ہاتھ نہیں پھیلاتا. اسی لیے حکم ہے کہ خود دینے جاؤ. اسلام نے نہیں کہا ہے کہ مانگنے والے کو دو, بلکہ یہ خود پہنچاؤ اس کے گھروں پر جا کے مستحقین کو. اس کے بعد consequently when the scholar would waste his knowledge, the ignorant would feel shame in learning, and when the generous would be niggardly, with his favors, the destitute would seize his next life hereafter in lieu of the worldly benefits. इसमें मैं आलिम तो नहीं, लेकिन उलमा बताएंगे कि इसमें गुनाह आता है कि जब आप किसी का हक नहीं दे रहे हैं, कि हर आपकी एक की दौलत में गुरबा मसाकिन का हक दिया गया है, आप नहीं दे रहे हैं, कोई भूखा है तो वो अपनी उस दुनिया को बेच रहा है। किसी ने कहा ये गा दो हमारे लिए, हमारी तारीफ में, झूठी तारीफ में, तो कह दिया भैया भूखा आदमी है, और ये कह दो जरा ये सामान गठरी पहुंचाया हो सकता उसमें गांजा और चरस रखी हो पहुंचाया हो, कोई भी कर सकता है। तो जब ये ऐसा होगा तो इसके माने ये हैं कि वो अपने को बेच रहा है, लेकिन वो बेच रहा है, मजबूर होकर बेच रहा है, तो जिन लोगों के पास दौलत है उनसे हिसाब लिया जाएगा। इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ नजूबलागा को आम करना चाहिए, और इसके लिए जो है वक्तन फ़ौक़तन से आपने बड़ा अच्छा किया, बल्कि एहसान किया हम जैसे लोगों पर यहाँ आए। Osborne writes in Islam under the Arabs, I quote, Ali had been advised by several of his counselors to defer dismissal of the corrupt governance until he was sure against all enemies. Ali refused to be guilty of any difficulty or compromise with injustice. In Nahrawan, Muawiyah reached the riverside before the Holy Imam. He declared, Ali and his people will not be given even a single drop of water. The Holy Imam asked his son Hussein to get back the riverside, and it was successfully done. Now it was the turn of Muawiyah to ask for water. The Holy Imam Ali allowed it, saying, they are human beings. I quote, they are human beings, and though they acted inhumanly, yet I cannot follow their example and cannot refuse a man food or drink because he happens to be my worst enemy. Najibullah, page 12. To Abu Aswad Valley, he dictated now the rule of grammar, etc. To Abu Aswad Valley, he dictated the rules of grammar. Kumail ibn Ziyad was made responsible for mathematics, engineering, and astronomy, and they developed it. Abdullah ibn Abbas was made responsible for developing the principles of administration and rhetorics, and he himself looked after the philosophy of religion. These departments he kept with him as caliph. The philosophy of religion, ethics, commentary of the Holy Quran, and truth of the Holy, and the truths of Quran, and the life of the Holy Prophet and teaching. He was actually the hub of all the whole activity. He divided the public, first in the history, he divided the public service department like this. First number office, then there was a central secretariat, and there was a provincial secretariat. Secondly was judiciary, and thirdly was the public finance department. One was the collection department, the other was the distribution department, and fourthly was the army for defense. His livelihood, he earned his livelihood by working in the fields. Once someone wanted to meet him while he was working in the field. He said, what do you want? Why do you want to meet him? He asked. Imam Ali himself asked him, what do you want? Why do you want to meet him? He said, sir, there is a question. Then he said, ask the question. Then the man said, no, I want to meet Ali. Then he said, I am Ali. And then he put his question again. And he was working in the field. He was a caliph. He was earning his livelihood by working in the field. And he did not take anything from Baitul Mal. And once in the mosque of Kufa, he stood with his this patched abba garment. I said, this is the garment I brought from Medina. And I have not taken anything from your coffers, from the government money. I have not taken anything. He was working in the field. As caliph, he was earning his livelihood. And there people would go ask questions to him. He'll reply to them. And the entire world respects Imam Ali. Do not be, then he said, do not be slave to others, for Allah has created you free. If the subject suspect you, then you come, high and you come forward. And if your brother disregards, this is for us, if your brother disregards your kinship, you do not regard it. You should regard it and try to patch and try to, this is the lesson for goodness of humanity at large. He asked his governing designate to give good counsel to shopkeepers also. And you know better than me, then he will go to the market and will say, when the fish they are selling, that it shouldn't be sold, it is dirty, this is wrong, this is this. Everywhere he went to the market and gave the commerce education to the shopkeepers. And he declared dignity of labor by saying that manual labor with chastity is better than riches of a better life. Now, one thing on the international labor standards, the holidays given to the working hands, in Imam Ali's house, there was a Khanis, his name was Fizza, and one day Hazrat Fatima will work, and then Fizza will work. And when Fizza was ill, then Ali will work on her behalf. And I don't know how many of us are doing the same with our household servants. तबीयत खराब है साहब घर में काम कर लो फिर लेट जाना. But he will come forward. He said, and because Fatima was working, the second day Fiza would work. When Fiza was ill, Ali went and did the entire household work. And this is to be noted by ILO's convention, which allows the working days, working hand holidays by the International Labour Organization. To Imam Hassan, Imam Ali said, "Oh my child, make yourself the measure between you and others. Thus you like for your others what you like for yourself and hate for others. Do not oppress as you don't like to be oppressed. Do good to others as you like good to be done to you. Regard bad for yourself whatever you regard bad in others. Accept that treatment from others which you like others to accept from you. Do not talk about what you do not know, even though what you know be very little. Do not say to others what you do not like to be said to you. Whenever you come across a needy person who can carry for you your provisions to hand it over to you on the day of judgment, when you would be needing it, then accept it as a good opportunity and make him to carry it. This will help the needy person, this and that. It is in his will to Imam Hassan, his son. The Holy Imam wrote to Malik Ashtar, do justice to Allah and do justice to the people as against yourself, against near ones and those of your subjects for whom you have a liking. Because if you do not do so, you would be oppressing. And when a person oppresses the creatures of Allah, then instead of people, Allah becomes the enemy of such persons. And therefore, I hope you know, and I think my visit is there, that in Kofi Annan, when he was the Secretary General of the United Nations, he got a very long white stone tablet on which extracts from the letter to Malik Ashtar have been there, and they have been put at the gate of the United Nations. They have been put in the United Nations gate, it is there, and all those is written, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the right of the people and the subjects, and the role of the administrators and the rulers of the world. When he visited Iran, he was impressed, and then went back, he did it like that. So, it is like this. And then one thing is, once he was, one Mr. Ashas ibn Qais, he brought him some sweet dish. Then he said, what is this? Is it a charity? Or what is that? He said, it is because I have brought it for you. Then he said that, no, I am not going to. He said, in fact, it's very strong. He said, childless women may weep upon you. What is this you have brought to me? Is it a present? Or is something like this or that? I don't accept it. And then he said a very remarkable sentence. He said, if whatever is in between the seven skies and in between them, if it is offered to me in lieu of one thing, that I snatched one morsel of food from the mouth of a person, I refuse this. And therefore, that UN the stone says, the fairest governor of the world. And he was. And once, whenever anybody went to ask for any favor, he refused. Always he said, look to those poor people who are hungry, who do not have means to live. And why have you asked? Go and work. And therefore, he stressed at the dignity of labor, at the dignity of